probably the longest amount of time I've ever spent in this car.
Couldn't have held out for another hour or two.
Up next, guys, this car has twin blowers on it.
Welcome back to Rodder's Garage. Cleetus Cars 2022 Indy was absolutely awesome. It was a great time, great drag racing, great people, great burnouts for sure. The weather tried to bring us down for about 45 minutes. They kicked everyone out of the stands due to some lightning and hail coming in the forecast. Then it kind of cleared up. It rained for a while more and it quit and the show went on. It was absolutely wonderful after that rain passed by. But, as you can tell from the video, the Sunbird did not fare too well this year. It started off strong. Basically, if you watched the last video, you saw that the thing had some major blow-by going on. We actually had to pull the valve covers and add some breathers because the crankcase pressure was building so high, it was pushing oil out of the valve cover gaskets and the front timing cover seal. And basically, we put the breathers on, it was huffing pretty hard. I put a few heat cycles through it. I mean, the thing sat all winter. It did not have this issue last year, and then it did. And I drove it a little more, and it got better and better. And actually, when we got it to Cleetus, I drove around the pits, went to inspection, and drove it around a little bit, and we drove all the way around the stands to get in the lineup for the burnouts, and there was no blow-by at all. I didn't know what the deal was. I didn't know if the rings needed to be seated again. It was a fairly new engine or what we had going on in there, but it sealed. And once we started that burnout, it started steadily huffing stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until the engine shut off and some terrible metal noises came out of it. It wasn't good, but I decided to keep cranking it. I cranked it, and it actually fired up again. And I figured, well, if I'm going to murder this engine, I might as well murder it good. So I continued to go. It was definitely down a hole or two at that point, and definitely down on power. And I kept going and going a little bit more. I probably shouldn't have done that. And I went again till it died. It's dead. So we're going to have to pull that engine apart here in the future and see exactly how bad I screwed that up. But in the meanwhile, let's run back, look at the video one more time, and analyze a few things.
This car has twin blowers on it.
Alright guys, so at this point it's go time. Started off in first gear, hit that second gear, get those tires good and hot, get them smoking, come out of the gate here, hooked up a little bit hard there, got back on it, bam, wall tap, got that out of the way right away, and everything's going good. But as you can see there on the passenger side, that blow-by is starting to get a little heavier, coming out of that breather. That's not good. And basically right here, wait for it, yeah, definitely did not sound good. Sounded like some parts coming apart under there. And I started cranking it, and it fired back up. But it's definitely hurt, as you can hear. Definitely down on power. Definitely lost a cylinder for sure. And that blow-by is, it's pretty bad. It's not good, that's for sure. I just figured, heck, like I said, if you're gonna murder it, it's already hurt. Might as well keep going. It's still running, right? So, yeah, I kept it going for a little while here. Tried to put on the best show I could. It is what it is, you know. Sometimes that stuff happens. And yeah, that's it. Pretty much gave up at that point. Yeah, she definitely was not happy. Got hot. Not good. So that pretty much ended it. That wasn't too long of a run, but we did what we could. And that's going to be about it for this one. Yeah, basically that was the end of it. I killed that one pretty good. It didn't last very long once again. Basically, we'll pull the thing down here in the future. I'm thinking we're going to injection at this point. I'm not going to mess around with that carburetor on that anymore, if we even run that setup again. I'm definitely not going to run the Sunbird at Cleetus again, that's for sure. We're going to build an all-out burnout car for next year for that show. I got some ideas in mind right now, but we'll talk about those in the future when we have a little bit more time. As for the Sunbird, I'm going to tear the engine down. We're going to look into it, see exactly what happened. I don't know if the top of the piston came off, if it dropped a valve. I didn't look at it at all yet, or if I leaned it out really bad. I did do a couple of hard pulls in the past, down the road and in the barnyard, basically up in second gear, wide open, doing a burnout, and just shut it down right away and check the plugs. And the thing was burning really nice. The air fuel gauge did not work right in that car. Not that I would have been having time to look at that during the burnout competition anyway, but I know that it was burning fairly well from the testing that I did with it in the past. So I think something mechanically failed. I don't think it was a lean meltdown, but we'll find out when we tear the engine apart. So we'll do that in a couple of weeks. We'll pull the motor down, we'll look at it, see what happened, try to salve it up, get it back together, and I'm pretty sure we're going to injection on that twin supercharged deal in the future. Probably get some bungs and weld them right into the runners on the intake and do direct port injection, put some LS injectors in it, and get a throttle body and basically run an LS standalone on the thing. So we have a lot more flexibility for our fuel system basically at that point, which is a good thing. I welded a return and all the provisions in that fuel tank when we built it a couple videos ago, that we can easily just switch out to fuel injection on the thing. So that's going to be pretty much it for this time, guys. I am going to get back on some projects around here. We got some stuff coming up on the 58 Apache. I got a whole video series on that. We have some other vehicles that I've worked on here in the past, and we are going to be very shortly getting back on the Model A. I'm ready for sandblasting, but I'm getting the chassis out of this Model A Snowbird ready for sandblasting as we speak. And we got Robert's 52 Chevy over here that I'm going to be pulling that body off and getting that chassis out. So we're going to have a whole sandblasting field day, probably a couple days out at the house, and get a bunch of projects ready, cleaned up, and back down here, including the Yard Art Model A, like I said before. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Till next time.